My family eyes saw with some prophetic updates and prophetic confirmations. Let's get into it.
What did I tell you we would see? The Holy Spirit warned us about President Trump. So when the tariffs don't go into effect.
If a country tells me, sir, we like you very much, but we're going to no longer adhere to being in the reserve currency, we're not going to salute the dollar anymore, I'll say that's okay. And you're going to pay a 100% tariff on everything you sell into the United States. And we love your product. I hope you sell a lot of it into the United States, but you're going to pay 100% tariff. He will then follow it up by saying, sir, it would be an honor to stay with the reserve currency. That will be like just playing. That's not even chess, that's checkers. But you don't have listen to this, you don't have other people that can talk that way.
And we don't pray the Supreme Court justice to coincide with him. I said we're in the valley of decisions.
The Supreme Court has just released a major decision involving President Trump's tariff policies and whether the president exceeded his authority with sweeping reciprocal tariffs on other nations, the centerpiece of his economic agenda. Let's get right to ABC's senior Washington correspondent Devin Dwyer, who covers the Supreme Court for us. Devin, your thoughts?
Kira, this is one of the most significant decisions on presidential power in decades. The Supreme Court, just moments ago, in a 6-3 decision authored by Chief Justice John Roberts, invalidated most of President Trump's tariffs. 70% of the tariffs he's imposed so far in his second term here have been under the law known as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. It was written in 1977. He claimed it gave him unlimited power to tariff any country at any level for as long as he wants, and Roberts said the law simply does not give him that authority. Congress, under the Constitution, has the power to tax Americans, collect tariffs. There's no mention of tariffs in that law, and the Supreme Court said he cannot do what he's done. Kira.
It was back in January. I said this will be a major turning point of his presidency. And I said the next phase will be war, war, war.
And we have tremendous amounts of oil. And we could do that with Iran very easily. We could just take their oil. But, I'm not sure that the people in our country have the patience to do that, which is unfortunate. They want to see it end. If we stayed there, I'd prefer just to take the oil. We could do it so easily. I would prefer that. But people in the country sort of say, just win. You're winning so big. Just win. Come home. And I'm okay with that, too, because we have a lot of oil between Venezuela and our oil.
I said Trump will be known as a wartime president. When he first started, I told you this back over a year ago. I said, Trump will be known as a wartime president. And he came out and said, I'm full of peace. I want peace. And this is what, but I said, but God will use him to shake the nations. There will be a business side of him that we've never seen before. All gloves are off. Why? Because he's not going to be president again. I said, watch what happens when he attacks Iran and attacks this area over there. I said, it's going to happen. Remember? I said, he'll go after Venezuela. I saw America trying to have a regime change in Venezuela, trying to influence to get rid of the man with the black hair slicked back. I saw the same way they did Saddam. They will try to do this man with the slick hair. Yeah, Nicholas. I saw it be just like similar to Saddam. And it's oil, 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 oil. Remember that. And it's to block them from joining the BRICS. Because they don't want them to join the BRICS. To back the BRIC nations. Because they have oil, 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 oil. And he'll give Venezuela. And then he's going to go after Iran. I heard the Spirit of the Lord say they put them back in the Stone Age. But when they do this, they strike their oil and their gasoline plants, their petroleum plants, right? I saw like gas. I saw, this refineries. Refineries. I saw refineries. And when they strike the refineries, I saw gas and oil prices skyrocketing. I've warned you this since 2023 about this. For a season. And I saw and then the Lord showed me in that vision, the 1970 gas wars. I saw cars lined up down the blocks because of gas shortages. Now, if that still happens, I don't know. But this is what I saw. This is in 2023. And the Lord told me at this time that gas would skyrocket and it would bring the price of oil up like really high. Really high. I saw it going up $200 a barrel. Like big money trying to flow, which would stimulate the American economy. It stimulated the American economy whenever these big oil productions get hit in the Middle East. And it would happen for a season, for a window. I don't know how long, for a window. And I saw gas in the Mediterranean being drilled. I saw the Gulf of people want to argue America, Gulf of Mexico. I don't care. Call it what you want. They were drilling. And I saw drill, baby, drill. I saw pipelines being opened up, being worked out, making big agreements for pipelines. The Nord Stream pipeline, I believe is what it's called. It was the big pipeline. I saw it being talked about and opened up, working on it. Like trying to get this pipe deal going. Doing major oil big deals ahead. Stimulating America's economy. But when this happens, I saw great anti-Semitism because of people being mad at Israel about what they're about to do. Remember this. I saw them wanting to retaliate with war. Russia, Syria, Turkey. And guess what? It happened exactly the way the Lord said. And I said, then he will say, drill, baby, drill. And he did. We will take Iran back to the Stone Age. I heard the Spirit of the Lord say, they put them back in the Stone Age.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death.
And they will. When this takes place, I said people will start to buy oil from America. And it will make America's economy booming again. And it will look like everybody and their brothers coming to America to buy oil. Does anybody remember this stuff that I'm telling you? I said it will stimulate, and there'll be oil all in the Gulf of America. And I saw gas in the Mediterranean being drilled. I saw the Gulf of people want to argue America, Gulf of Mexico. I don't care. Call it what you want. They were drilling. And I saw drill, baby, drill. I saw pipelines being opened up, being worked out, making big agreements for pipelines. The Nord Stream pipeline, I believe is what it's called. It was the big pipeline. I saw it being talked about and opened up, working on it. Like trying to get this pipe deal going. Doing major oil big deals ahead. Stimulating America's economy. So today, the strait has been closed again. The U.S. military says it will start blockade of all ships going to and from Iran on Monday.
Well, as you know, at 10 o'clock tomorrow, we have a blockade going into effect. That'll be 10 o'clock tomorrow. Other nations are working so that Iran will not be able to sell oil. And that will be very effective. But what we want to do is we want to, and again, we don't need it. What we notice and what we see and what I think is maybe my idea, maybe not, I don't know. But there are many boats heading toward our country to fill up with oil and then go and take it. So they're not going to go through the Hormuz Strait. Oh, I don't know. I don't care if they come back or not. If they don't come back, I'm fine. Their military is gone. Their missiles are largely depleted. The manufacturing capability for missiles and drones is largely defeated. We've been very nice. We haven't ripped down too many bridges. We did one only because they broke their word. They broke their promise. I think Iran is in very bad shape. I think they're very desperate. We had a meeting that lasted 21 hours. We understand the situation better than anybody. And Iran's in very bad shape. And just so you understand, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Will not have. There is no way that they're going to get, they still want it. And they made that clear the other night Iran will not have a nuclear weapon.
No more oil for you. What'd I say? What happened? What'd the Lord say? Well, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? Huh? Look at the boats. This is real time. Look at all those boats coming out of there. And I said, watch what we do with the Panama. Remember? I said, the Lord said, we are going to establish ourselves very strong in the Panama Canal. And we will have great oil coming out of Houston, out of this area, out of our Gulf. And I said, watch, drill, baby, drill. Look at all those boats. They're all coming here to get our oil. So let's look at what Trump says.
We have more oil because of drill, baby, drill. We have more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia put together. So if you look at Russia and Saudi Arabia, two big ones, we have much more oil than they have put together. And what's happening is boats are coming over here, filling up. They don't have to go through the Hormuz.
The Lord told us the tariffs will fall. We better pray. That's the first plan. But if it doesn't work, plan B will be the oil. And guess what happened? Exactly what the Lord said. Right here. Here you go. But what was what the Lord told us to watch out for now? Huh? Attacks on our oil facility to retaliate for what's happening to their economy and your economy. And they are going to try to disrupt by blowing up these things with their homemade rocket launchers. The Lord keeps telling us. Why? Because we can stop it. What did I tell you was coming? When I heard great anti-Semitism will rise up in the media and in public, and they will blame the Jews for the oil prices, the gas prices, food, everything. And they will not be able to, the Orthodox Jews will not be able to go in public without being persecuted almost to death. When this happened, I saw them uprooting their families and moving back to Israel. And they started taking over the Gaza. The other part was, I said, watch after Iran gets their hand out of Babylon. Babylon will rise out of nowhere, and you will see Saudi Arabia become one of the major leaders with MBS in the days ahead that will bring forth a two-state solution with Jared. Look at Saudi Arabia today.
Saudi Arabia's energy ministry says it's restored operations in its east-west pipeline that was affected by Iranian attacks. And that's according to the state news agency, which says the pipeline has full pumping capacity, amounting to around 7 million barrels of oil per day.
So I said, Saudi Arabia comes out of nowhere, and watch what happens. President Trump won't make this if you don't pray for him. He won't make it until 2029 in January. He'll never make it. Why? Because he can't do this alone. He must have us pray for him. Do you believe he's a puppet to Israel? There's so many people. Well, Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu is a bad man, and everybody's saying, listen. I told you I don't always agree with the Israeli government, but I always stand with Israel because Israel is forever.
Which actually reminds me of Prophet Sadu's prophetic word.
To stand with Israel is a solemn call God has given to this nation. This is your call, to stand together with the nation Israel, to be like a big brother protecting over the little brother. For such a purpose, God has raised you up. You know, once I read a historical document where the Prime Minister Ben-Gurion, when they were under attack, called Mr. Richard Nixon for help. And initially, Mr. Nixon refused to help Israel. And Ben-Gurion appealed to Mr. Nixon. He said, if you will not help us, we will be wiped out. And Mr. Nixon asked for some days to think about it. And when he was alone in his office one day, suddenly something that his mother told him came to his remembrance. When he was a little boy, Mr. Nixon's mother told him, someday you will become the leader of this nation. And when you become the leader of this nation, you must help Israel. That's what his mother told him when he was a small boy. So Nixon's mother prophesied to her son that someday you will become the President of the United States of America. When you do, you must help Israel. As soon as he remembered that, now this is my destiny, he realized. The next moment, he picked the phone and he called the Prime Minister of Israel and he said, I am sending our warplanes to Israel to help you fight the war of independence. See, this is your destiny. And after that time, the many subsequent presidents that came refused to help Israel. And among the worst of your presidents is Obama, who was never for Israel, largely because of his Muslim background. That was the chief reason. He refused to help Israel. And you will recall that during the 8 years of his presidency, the nation of the US suffered great natural calamities. Never before in the history. And it was God's judgment that he sent to this nation because of the leader. Because the leader refused to help Israel and allowed the nation to be under suffering. Now God raised up another man to be a friend and a protector of Israel. Now the Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 12 verse 3 that as long as America stands with Israel, she will be blessed. And your nation will have a turnaround in all areas of this nation, economically, technology-wise, in every education, every structure, as long as you bless Israel.
So I actually found that interesting, and I said, let me just share that with you. And there's something else you need to know, especially one of Kim Clement's last prophecies, that America needs to be careful.
No doubt that this is speaking of the betrayal of the USA. Our eyes are focused on Iran. Take them off Iran. That's not the issue. That's the problem. We're looking at Iran, and there's a betrayal that's coming from a different source. I've listened to it. Everything is Iran's preparing itself, and yes, go ahead. But the betrayer is someone that can get close. The serpent is in the house.
So you actually need to pray. In as far as updates, that's what we have so far. So I'll meet you in the next one as always.